I've just posted the link in the comments. If you want to come and join me, we can have a little conversation, and you can be off camera if you want to be as well. So that would work. You can just talk or just message me or whatever here as well. Whatever works is absolutely fine. So today, like I said, I want to talk about our 3 basic needs and what happens when they're not met, and how it impacts us. So let's start, and I'll just keep the chat open. So if you've got any questions, I should be able to see it. So 927 members in the group, which is absolutely awesome. And I am thinking about what to do as a special celebration when we hit 1,000. So if you've got anybody that you can think would benefit from joining the group, please send them an invite and let them enjoy it. And there's 2 free gifts when they join as well. So that's an incentive. There's a meditation, and there is a free ebook about how to manage anxiety as well. In fact, there's 2. Yeah, there's those 2 free gifts. So that's really wonderful. And if you haven't already got yours, message me or comment below and I will send you the link so you can get them. So I'm Rachel Farnsworth, for those that don't know it, and I'm a multi-award winning trauma releasing expert specialising in releasing anxiety, autoimmune disease and alcohol dependency without countless sessions, because the body speaks the truth and it knows what's going on. The symptoms you're experiencing are simply telling you that there is emotional pain lying behind the presenting symptoms. You're probably unaware of that emotional pain because it's suppressed, and we can't heal what we can't feel, and we can't fix what we don't understand. And that's what's going on. The subconscious mind, it's way below conscious level, so it's out of your conscious awareness. And so we're blissfully almost unaware of what's going on. But the subconscious mind is bringing it to your forefront, by the symptoms, telling you, like waving that flag at you, telling you, informing you that there's some stuff going on that needs addressing and needs releasing. So that is what's going on. Only we've not been told that, but you cannot separate the mind and body and spirit. It's all one. So where does these suppressed emotions go? They've got to go in, haven't they, when you think about it? And they cause symptoms. We all know how painful trapped wind is, and it's kind of that analogy. I know it's a horrible analogy, but it kind of illustrates it in a raw way, really, of what's going on. But where the symptoms are tells a deeper story. So let's just start by talking about what the 3 basic needs are. And the 3 basic needs that we all need as we're growing up, well, at all times really, but particularly as we're growing up, because we're dependent children, so we actually need all these from other people. We cannot meet our own needs at this point. So there's boundaries, the ability for us to be able to say yes to ourselves and no to ourselves and other people. So that's the first one. And we probably already think that when were our boundaries trodden on? Probably quite a lot. You were told, no, you can't do that, you've got to do this, and you didn't want to. And but there are always things that you can't. Obviously, there's some things that you have to be told no to, but there's others that you may have found that your voice wasn't heard or you weren't listened to, and that is a form of trauma, even if maybe you didn't realize that at the time. There's safety as well. As a child, we depend on other people, especially our caregivers, to make us feel safe, or teachers as well, to make us feel safe and to help us regulate our own emotions, because we're still new to this. We're looking at other people. Well, I'm feeling like this, and we're looking at our caregivers. Well, they're not experiencing the same thing. They're not feeling the same way. Therefore, there must be something wrong with me, or I'm overreacting, or I shouldn't be feeling this way. So all of this is impacting our internal dialogue within ourselves. So it's not necessarily what happened to you, it's the way you process these things. The third thing is love that we need. And we need love from our caregivers, not for what we do or what we achieve, but for who we are. Okay? So did you get love just because you showed up being you? Or did you get love because you're a good girl, or you achieved something, or you put your toys away, or whatever it was? Is that when you got praise and love? Because that tells a story as well, doesn't it? Oh, I'm only good enough if I fill in the missing blank. So can you see how all these things start eroding our sense of wholeness, our sense of who we are? We need to do X, Y, Z in order to fit in. We need to dumb our light down. We need to not express ourselves that way. We need to be the good kid. We need to be the perfect person. We need to maybe be the sick child in order to get attention and love. There's all sorts of things that comes up that we start believing that we need in order to get these needs met. So all this stuff, whether it feels like it's big trauma, like, you know, when we think of trauma, we think of abuse, whether it's sexual or emotional or physical. We think of neglect, that things that didn't happen to us, like we weren't loved and cared for, we weren't fed and sheltered, perhaps. Or it's a household dysfunction. Maybe there was some mental illness in your family, maybe an absent parent, maybe someone was addicted to a substance. So that is trauma. There's also the trauma that is more covert, it's more hidden, it's more subtle. And it can be, and we've all had these events, whether we realise them or not, it's the response that we needed from somebody else that we didn't get. So it's like our needs weren't met in that moment. So it could be a teacher, a caregiver, a grandparent, someone said or did something, maybe somebody at school, a friend, the bully, the popular person who was only popular because people were scared of them, perhaps. And all this stuff made us feel those emotions that we don't like feeling stupid, feeling ashamed, feeling guilty, feeling frustrated, hurt, unseen, unheard, helpless, hopeless. All these guilty, grief, all of those are and then the thing is, we tend to tell a story subconsciously. We're probably not even aware of that either, of how it makes us feel. I'm feeling this, and therefore there's that story about ourselves. I'm not enough. I can't connect with the people. What I want isn't available, whether it's love, whether it's the career you want, whether it's to go to a different school, whether it's playing with a particular child in your neighborhood. It's all of that. So then all these experiences, we start disassociating from ourselves. And that disassociation means that we love ourselves less. We believe we are less than. That not enoughness feeling all starts feeding in, and the more we experience it, the more that self-love, self-worth, self-trust, self-confidence, it gets eroded. And the more we're in hyper alertness, then the more we're going to feel anxious. Maybe our sleep patterns start getting disrupted. And I remember when I was little, I used to wake up and my body would just got all these tingling sensations. I felt cold and hot, and it was because I got to go to school the next day. It woke me up like at 3 a.m. of that dread feeling. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And so my nervous system was on high alert for so many years, so much so that I didn't even realise I was in a state of anxiety, because it was my normal. It was my normal reset. And that is the thing about covert trauma. We normalise our emotions to the trauma. It becomes our normal. So we don't even know potentially what's going on. We don't even know that that's was trauma, because it was our normal. We don't know any different, do we? Whether it was, maybe you were locked in your bedroom at night. Well, you don't know that other people's families don't do that, do you? It's just what happens in your house. Or that you get beaten with a wooden spoon if you don't do a certain thing, or all sorts of stuff. So can you see how that kind of trauma becomes, sometimes, because it's so sneaky, because it's not like a massive occurrence, like you weren't held at knife point in that moment, it was more subtle. And because it happened every day or every evening or every whatever, it becomes your normal, and it just becomes that routine of eradicating, eroding, removing that sense of self-worth, self-belief, self-trust, self-confidence. And where does that pain go? Where does that emotion go? You've got nowhere to process it. You don't really understand how you're feeling, perhaps. It's got to go down. It gets suppressed because those feelings don't feel good, do they? So we're not going to go, we tend to push them down. So did you receive emotional validation when you were younger? Were you allowed to have feelings and emotions? Or were you told that big boys don't cry, or that you weren't, people your age don't do this, that and the other, when actually what you were experiencing was age appropriateness, really. You couldn't parent your smaller brother, sister, because you were just 6, perhaps. And it felt you were helpless and hopeless. You couldn't achieve what they're expecting because it just wasn't in you just couldn't do it because you were just 6 or 7 or 8 or even young, older, younger, even if 12. It's too young, isn't it? So when you look at it in hindsight and with your adult head, and you can look back and go, oh, I can see now. And that's how I help people to release the stuff, because it's going back. Your subconscious mind knows how all this stuff began, where the issue that's presenting in your now moment, where it began. Because the thing is, when we're younger, we create these walls around us that make us feel safe, these subconscious walls, and which are great when we're kids, and we need those to protect ourselves. But then as adults, they become ourselves being trapped in this locked box, basically, like a glass ceiling or a glass wall. And it's our comfort zone. We can't push past it. Or if we try to, our subconscious mind is going, no, you don't want to do that. So whether it's money, whether it's relationships, whatever it is that you're pushing yourself towards, and you cannot seem to get past that, there's a subconscious block there. And that block is from childhood, most probably. It doesn't have to be, but your subconscious mind knows where it all began. And that's the beauty of this. It doesn't take long, because your subconscious mind knows. And 100% of the time, we get to your personal root all the time. And it's just amazing. That's why I love what I do, because I never know where we're going to go, but your subconscious mind does, and it just starts. And it's my job to make sure that happens in a loving way, not in a forced way. It's just guided. And it's like, I don't know, I'm just thinking about this. It's like a daydream, and you just start experiencing it, but it's not reliving it. It's just like, oh, a daydream. And so maybe when you were younger, you learnt to be the helper and the rescuer. You became hypersensitive to everybody else's needs. That was me for sure. Where I suppose in a way it's best for me to have gone through that. I'm quite happy now, because it means I understand my clients' emotions as they're going through that. I'm sort of feeling into your emotions when you're telling me what's happening, asking you how you feel, but I'm also suggesting, are you feeling this? Perhaps, or just in a loving, guided way, not telling you that's how you feel, but are you feeling this? And does that make you feel helpless, hopeless? And does that make you feel like it's going to feel like that forever? So I'm just asking, I'm not asking, it's not, this is how you feel, but it's just like coaxing and nurturing and just supporting you lovingly, non-judgmentally. So that, because I was the helper rescuer, I became hypersensitive to everybody else's needs before my own, because then I could regulate what everybody else was thinking, well, not thinking, but feeling, and to pacify and to smooth the waters and to be that good girl so that maybe I could get praised for being good. That's what I was really looking for, which is, that worked, but not so much as an adult, because I fell for everything, stood for nothing. And of course, toxic relationships were going to happen to me when you look at it from that perspective. Of course they are, because I didn't know my own value. I didn't know my own sense of self-worth. I had got no idea. And my mantra was, as long as everybody else is happy, it doesn't matter about me. Well, that's a recipe for disaster, isn't it? But I didn't know that then, but I do now. And so, we can feel burnt out because we're so busy meeting other people's needs. We can feel we aren't good enough. So maybe it feels difficult to ask for help, perhaps, or that if you do ask for help, the people around you aren't very good at reciprocating the help that you need. And so you feel that you've just got to do it all yourself, and it's quicker to do it yourself rather than asking for help. And so can you see how that keeps you in that little box of constriction, really? So that's the outcome of stress, is that the stress response often becomes our normal, to be in that state, to be more and more dysregulated or deregulated, and stops our body's natural ability to heal, because we're in that hypersensitive state, that hyper alertness. And it gives us that low sense of esteem, addiction, anxiety, depression, chronic conditions. All of those symptoms, all of them are result of trauma, all of them. So it's just telling you that you're out of alignment with your true self. And your true self is made of love. That's the love energy of who you are, your soul energy. So all of it is just telling you you're out of alignment with all those beliefs and thoughts and feelings and stuff that you took on when you were younger, that made you feel that you're not enough, that you can't connect, and what you want isn't available. And they're the three things that underpin it. And the more going down the layers even further is the lack of self-love for yourself, because you've disassociated from your natural true self because you felt that you weren't good enough. So that is the underlying, I'm not good enough is one of the biggest wounds that we hold, and we all feel like that, don't we? So that's why it's really good idea to release the trauma so that you can stand in that true power that it is you, that core emotion of love that is you, that it's not running a bath, or that self-care does help, but it's more about the energy from your higher self coming down to you. It's just a brilliant, wonderful energy to be in, and it was missing out of my life for the majority of it, at least so far. So as children, we do build those walls up to protect ourselves, and then they become the prison traps for our adult life. But the good news is we can change all that, and we can change that by changing our thoughts. And by changing our thoughts, we start changing our actions and reactions, and we start transforming our lives into what we want it to look like and feel like, and the experiences that we want and choose to have. So just be aware of what state your body is in. Is it feeling calm? Is it feeling tense? Is it feeling overwhelmed? Is there any pain? Where is the pain? If you wanted to, hi Sean and Leah, it's lovely to see you. Thank you for watching. So if that's you and you've got some pain in your body and you don't know what it's actually telling you, then send me a message or comment in the video here and put #replay, and I will come back and answer those questions. And it's very interesting, actually. Just this morning I was getting dressed and I noticed I've still got this pain in my left shoulder. It's been there a while. It's just a niggle, nothing too bad, nothing stopping me doing stuff, but just that, oh, it's still there. And so I just had a conversation as I was getting dressed in my head of, why is that pain still there? I'm sure it came about 3-4 years ago, just as a niggle, but it was sort of more, I was more aware of it this morning. And just thought, well, that must have been the time when I was, doing this, that, and the other. And I'm not doing that anymore. So you can go, can't you? And I'm not kidding you, that pain went. And I can just feel like the echo of it now. And so when you understand where it came from, it will leave. And it is that quick. It can be that fast. When you've understood what the message is, the message will leave. The symptoms will go. Just like a warning light on a dashboard of a vehicle. Once the vehicle's fixed, the warning light will go out, won't it? So that's what is going on with your body. And it's all from those 3 basic needs that we needed as children. The boundaries, the love, and the safety that we needed. So if those needs weren't met, then that's where the trauma starts coming in. So it doesn't have to be being held at knife point type of trauma, although I work with that as well. It can be something as simple as going to school and nobody wants to play with you. And how does that make you feel? It makes you feel that there's something wrong with you, doesn't it? It makes you feel that you've got, you're some alien or something. You just don't fit in. You feel so different. Feeling different is a big trauma response as well. It's a big wound, isn't it? So we all know how that feels. So that's how trauma starts and how it erodes our true wholeness, because we're born feeling whole and then it gets eroded over time. And that's why releasing it so you feel whole and complete, you're turning that energy into your soul energy of who you truly are. So it's a beautiful journey of self-discovery. It doesn't have to take long to achieve either once you've released it, because we're doing it it's a bit like having a table. You knock 3 legs down, the table doesn't stand up anymore. So we're not going to go back to every single event, time that ever happened to you. We're going back to the first time you felt like that. So by going back to the first time, it's like dominoes. Because at the moment, every time you feel this, the dominoes just go all the way down to that time. Oh, it feels just like that. And you get triggered. But by releasing it at the first point, or one of the first points, your mind knows where you need to be. If it takes you back to that first point, you've then flatlined all the other times you felt like that. And so when you're not triggered the same way anymore, and oh, this is funny, because something happens in your current now moment, and you sort of go, oh, this is odd. I used to feel like this, this, and this, and I would have reacted just like that without even thinking. I'd have gone, I'm not doing that anymore. And it's because you've rewired those neurons in your mind in a more positive way, in a more aligned way with who you are. So you're not triggered, you're able to breeze through it even better. So I hope that's helpful, and so you can really understand how trauma, those negative emotions, those negative events that made you feel bad about you have impacted you, because each one helps to bring and build those walls up within you, those protective layers. And then as adults, we're in this little cage, this little glass box, if you like. And if you think of it like glass, because when you look out, you can't see that you're in this glass box because it looks clear. But they're all full of your limited beliefs, your limited thoughts, your limited way of thinking. Not your fault, but it's all because that stuff that happened made you believe things about yourself. That it's not available, that I can't connect, that I'm not lovable, all those sort of stories. We've all had them. And so by releasing it, you come back to yourself. It's just an amazing thing. So I hope that's helpful about what trauma is and why we've all experienced it. And so you can see what's going on in your body, what's going on in your life. Maybe you can see some patterns as well. Maybe at work, and like, oh yes, that person reminds me of my dad, my sister, whatever. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to catching up with any questions that you have, and you can message me privately if you want to as well. So thanks for watching. Oh, something else I was just going to say, actually. Laura and I have got a group program, and we've been talking about this Wednesday this week, and all the replays are still available as well at the moment. So if you want to watch, you want to join it and work with us. We were working with lack of self-worth this week, and we were helping you find ways, got 10 ways of helping you increase your sense of self-worth. That doesn't take long. And next time, in a couple of weeks' time, we are working with the energy centers to help balance the energy centers within us. We've all got these energy centers. They're also called chakras. And then we're looking at manifesting. We've got a 5-session program. We're going to be looking at manifesting and looking at the future and having really good things. So that's, if you want to join, it's just £40 a month or $49 for 2 calls, and with all the support you need in the Facebook group as well. And the previous videos are available to watch as well. We've done negative self-talk, we've done limiting beliefs, and gratitude as well, and why that's important. There's been lots of stuff we've done, so those videos are still available as well. So you've got extra bonuses, extra free gifts by joining us, so you can watch the previous episodes as well as being live on the call or watch the replay as well. So I hope that's really helpful. I'll put the link in the comments. If you want to ask me any questions about that, please feel free to do so, and I look forward to catching up with you next Friday and in between that. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.